What's the adult version of finding out Santa is not real? That your good health isn't a given. Becoming aware of how wrong and uneducated most adults actually are. For me, it was finding out those HGTV shows are all more or less staged. Finding out adults aren't real. We're all just trying to figure it out. No, adult, switch gets flipped. When something goes terribly wrong in your life, and you realize it's not anybody else's fault but your own. People aren't honest and some people are mean just to be cruel. Each birthday as you get older is no longer unlocking a new social privilege or gaining more independence but instead another year closer to what? Retirement. Death. The universe isn't for you or against you. It simply doesn't care about you at all. Your company isn't really your family. Figuring out that finding your person, or your soulmate, is actually pretty rare and people can fall out of love just as easily as they can fall into it. Depression. No, seriously. When I was little, I was so confused as to how someone could be so sad all of the time. Well, whoop-de-fucking-do. Realizing that adulthood doesn't just come with its own iron and ironing board, you gotta get your own pleading face. Getting your first, adult, paycheck and realizing that you can barely scrape by. Oh, the dreams you had. Realizing there's no such thing as karma apparent universal justice. Sometimes bad people win and never apparently face consequences. Edit. Karma might be the wrong word, I learned from several replies. I'm only talking about a universal justice that we can see the idea of expecting justice to emerge from the idea of, what goes around comes around. Finding out that stripper poles spin in place, rather than the performer sliding around them. Finding out that your partner has been lying to you the entire time you've been together. Finding out that cashews aren't actually a nut, but the dried stem of the cashew fruit. I was 19 when I found out after I moved to Brazil, and it blew my mind. What do you mean Santa is not real? Your children are their own people, and even if you love them 110% and raise them the best you can, they can still grow up to be a deplorable and detestable person who does disgusting and horrible things to people. Or to put it another way, I could quote some Star Trek's Jean-Luc Picard. It is possible to commit no mistakes, and still lose. That is not weakness. That is life. Bad things will be done to, and happen to, good people for no reason. Just as great and good things will be done to, and happen to, horrible people. There is no rhyme or reason to it. Edit changed a name because PPL thought I was talking about a show and not a character in a show. Nepotism in action. Finding out your college degree doesn't guarantee you a job. There's no win condition. You get good grades and do well in sports, good military papers, get a degree, then a job, and so on and so forth. Put in effort, see results. Love, if you're lucky. One day you realize that life has started taking, not giving, that you're on the down slope. Your efforts do not buy results, but respite. And that the best you can hope for is to stave off the inevitable, and, when it comes, that the end will be merciful and not completely undignified. That people suck and that not all of them have feelings of guilt, empathy. Everyone's answer here is dark or existential, so I'll just put this out there. I finally went to Universal Studios as an adult a few years back and found out the old Nickelodeon Studios building has been turned into a generic, gray building with no life behind it. I was crushed. Edit. Referring to the one in Florida, of course. Living a mediocre life is fine. Jesus Christ, this thread is depressing. Those pills won't make it bigger. Learning no one else knows what they're doing either. Discovering that working you ass off won't make you rich and that you are just making someone else rich. Realizing that there is no student loan bubble that will pop and erase my crippling student loan debt. Finding out your friends aren't real. While this hasn't happened to me, I don't have many friends to begin with, the idea that as an adult you've already formed the majority of your close friends. Then they make excuses of how busy they are and can't get together and whatnot. Then you find out your group has been hanging out and not inviting you. The very idea if adulthood. When I was a kid, I used to believe that there was an inherent wisdom that would come at the time you became an adult, and when you reached that age, you were suddenly more intelligent and responsible and knew what you were doing most of the time. As I grew up, I realized that wasn't true at all, and most people have no idea what they are doing and everyone is just winging it. Realizing that your country is not really the country that you learned about in history class. Realizing that the adults don't really know what they are doing and everyone is really just winging it the best they can. Becoming an adult and having health problems like a sore back. I thought that only happened when you're 50 plus. All in all, you're just another brick in the wall. Finding out that your insurance doesn't cover the costly, necessary and unavoidable procedure you just had. Also, for some reason, it doesn't apply towards your deductible either. You're not as unique and special as you thought you were. College degree doesn't promise good job. Finding out that getting paid every 2 weeks doesn't mean you have any money. The moment you realize your employer doesn't really care about you. For me, it was when a coworker, popular guy, not that it's important to the story, was forced to choose between going to work and going to an uncle's funeral over 2 hours drive away. They may say you're important to the company, or that everyone is like family, but really, you're just another employee who can be easily replaced. No matter how shitty your job might be, there are plenty of other people who want it. Love is not enough and does not conquer all. Getting kicked off your parents' health insurance and finding out how much it costs on your own. Shower sex sucks. Believing that once you're an adult you'll have all the time and money to do the things you always wanted to do. Mail is no longer fun to look at when it's all bills and no longer birthday, Christmas, etc. cards with money. Graduating with a degree and good grades doesn't guarantee you landing a job, or at least the one you want, or getting a good enough salary. Working hard isn't the recipe for rising to the top. Finding out your parents aren't soulmates. Finding out your wife fucked an Elvis impersonator in your 7-year-old daughter's bed. Accepting that your dreams won't come true. That I'll never feel like I've made a big enough impact in the world, even if I have. Pro wrestling isn't an actual sport. It's just a sport-themed show. When they say you'll make X an hour then you get your check. There isn't just one person out there for you. There's plenty of people who you would be perfectly happy with. That being attractive matters so much. Another commenter said to get a job you need to have a degree, relevant experience, James Bond social skills, but they forgot that you get a great leg up if you look like James Bond or his female companions. The halo effect is real, and it hurts. Realizing that $100 is actually not a lot of money. Skeptical smiley face. Finding out that naps are actually amazing and you've been refusing them, taking them for granted this whole time. When I found out red velvet cake is just chocolate with red food coloring. Realizing retirement is just about as real an idea for me as meeting Santa. Finding out there's no magic point where you become an adult, and life becomes easy, makes sense. Student loan interest. You thought you were going to college to get a good job and live a good life. Bitch, you thought. Realizing that no matter how hard I work, how well that work is performed or how much integrity I exhibit, I'll always be an easily replaceable organic automaton. Nobody really wants to listen to bitch about how fucked the system really is. I need a hug but I'm not going to get one anytime soon. Fucking hell. And fuck my life. Finding out more people do coke than you thought. Learning that working hard for a company and staying loyal to them gets you more work and the same pay. Companies have no loyalty to their employees and so their employees have no need to be loyal to them. Somehow this shocks them, but it shocked the hell out of me since I had always been taught that's the way to move up in the world. Finding out that adults don't actually know everything. They're just bullshitting their way through life to various degrees and highly flawed individuals. That you cannot love someone into being the person you need them to be, and more often than not, this is going to mean that you do a lot of tough shit alone. Working hard but not getting a raise or promotion. The stripper doesn't really like you. Nor does the cute bartender who's been flirting with you all night. Seeing how much money is taken out of your paycheck for taxes. Discovering that credit cards are not free money. Finding out I really have to pay back my student loans. Probably the realization there is a fair chance you'll die an insignificant nobody who achieved little, never saw the best life could offer and hated your whole life up until death. Money isn't real. Learning from an attorney that your well-to-do relative left you nothing. For a comically large amount of people, it's finding out going up a tax bracket doesn't mean the government is going to claw back all the money they made. Everyone knows those people who might say, "Fuck no, I'm not working any more overtime. I don't want to lose money by going up a tax bracket." Poor souls. A degree doesn't equal more money. The mother used to do everything for us, can get old and fragile. Finding out your parents are flawed humans. Finding out the justice system is for the rich. Work is not fun. Your coworkers are not your friends. Your boss doesn't care if you are happy. HR is there to protect the company from you, not you from the company. The world is a dark place. Realizing the chick in HR is the company's pal, not yours. Thanks for watching. See you later.